Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar on the importance of firmware security assessment. My name is Vandana Dharmarajram, Senior Firmware Engineer at Decos, and I'm delightful to have you all here. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We are excited to dive into this critical topic and share some valuable insights with you. Have you ever wondered what keeps the intricate system in your device running smoothly? Or what happens if the underlying software that control your device gets compromised? So, these are the kinds of questions we will be exploring today. Our goal today is to provide you with the understanding of firmware security assessment and equip you with the knowledge to protect your systems effectively. To kick things off, let me share a real and impactful story that highlights why firmware security is so crucial, especially in our increasingly connected world. In 2017, researchers uncovered a serious vulnerability in the firmware of certain pacemaker and insulin pump made by a major medical device manufacturer. These vulnerabilities weren't just theoretical, they posed real, immediate threat to the health and safety of patients. Imagine the scenario: an attacker, potentially from anywhere in the world, could remotely exploit this vulnerability to alter the functioning of these life saving devices. For pacemakers, this meant the potential to change the pacing setting, causing the heart to beat irregularly. And for insulin pump, it meant the possibility of delivering incorrect doses of insulin, leading to severe health consequences. This incident was particularly alarming because fixing the firmware required a medical procedure to update the implanted devices. It highlighted a critical gap in our approach to cybersecurity for medical devices and underscored the necessity of robust firmware security to protect patients' lives. This story is a powerful reminder that firmware security is not just about protecting data, it's about protecting people. As we delve into today's webinar, let's keep in mind the profound impact the secure firmware can have on safety and trust in our technology. I encourage you to think about the devices you or your loved one rely on daily and consider the importance of unseen software that keeps them running safely. Your engagement and understanding in this webinar will contribute to a safer and more secure digital world. Here is the agenda. Today, we will explore the key reason why firmware security is so important. We will break down the steps involved in assessing the security of the firmware, from acquiring the firmware to analyzing its code and configuration. We will identify common vulnerabilities that often go unnoticed. We will also introduce various tools and resources that aid in the assessment process. We will discuss best practices for maintaining firmware security, ensuring that your device remains protected against potential threats. And lastly, things to do if security gap is identified. So before moving further, I have a poll question for you. You will be having 30 seconds to answer the question. The poll question should be displayed on your screen now. So the question is, how often should firmware security assessment be conducted? The options are A, after every major update, B, annually, C, quarterly, and D, continuously. So I can see many of you have answered the question. While the frequency can vary depending upon the organization and industry, but the correct answer is D, continuously. It is ideal because it allows for immediate detection and remediation of security threats. Before we dive into the technical details, let's take a moment to understand why we are here and what we aim to achieve. Firmware security is a foundational aspect of overall system security, and its importance cannot be overstated. Firmware acts as the bridge between the hardware and software, providing critical instructions that control how a device operates. It is embedded in a wide variety of devices, from personal gadgets like smartphones and smart home devices to industrial equipment and critical infrastructures. As we all know, that vulnerability in firmware can have far-reaching consequences, potentially compromising entire network and systems. Why is firmware security so crucial? First, let's consider the impact. As we all know, firmware operates at the most fundamental level of a device, controlling firmware functions directly. Therefore, a compromised firmware can undermine the security and integrity of the entire system. Consequences of compromised firmware includes unauthorized access, data breaches, and system failures. Statistics shows that a significant percentage of cyber attacks targets firmware vulnerabilities, and it is often an overlooked area in security assessment. Real-world incident and potential risk highlights the importance of securing firmware. Additionally, complying with industry standards and regulation regarding firmware security is essential. Let's walk through the key steps in firmware security assessment. These steps include firmware acquisition, static analysis, dynamic analysis, configuration review, hardware interface assessment, security features evaluation, and reverse engineering. Each of these steps plays a critical role in thoroughly assessing and securing your firmware. Now, starting with firmware acquisition, there are several methods like you can extract firmware directly from the devices using hardware tools and interfaces like JTAG, SPI, or UART, or you can physically remove the chip and read its content. Alternatively, you can download firmware updates from manufacturer website or third-party repositories. There are some tools which you can use for firmware extraction like binwalk, flashrom, JTAG. We will discuss these tools one by one. The first one is binwalk. It is an open source tool used for analyzing and extracting firmware images. Also, it can identify files and executable code embedded into the firmware images. It is particularly used for breaking down firmware into its constituent part, making it easier to analyze. The second tool is the flashrom. Flashrom is a utility for reading, writing, verifying, and erasing flash chips. It supports a wide range of flash devices and can be used to extract firmware directly from a device flash memory. And the last tool is the JTAG ISP hardware tools. This tool interfaces with the hardware to access the device memory and extract the firmware. Some of the examples are devices like JTagulator, bus pirates, and various ISP programmers. When acquiring firmware, it's crucial to preserve the device integrity and comply with legal and ethical guidelines. Next step in firmware security assessment is the static analysis, which is a crucial part of firmware security assessment as it allows us to examine the code without actually executing it. This method helps identify potential vulnerabilities, code quality issues, and security weaknesses early in the development process. Let's dive deeper into the components and benefits of static analysis. We will see some techniques using static analysis. The first one is disassembly and decompilation. Disassembly is used to convert the binary code back into assembly language, making it readable for analysis. And decompilation transforms binary code into higher level programming language code, making it easier to understand the programmer's logic and identify vulnerabilities. Next is the signature analysis. It compares code pattern in the firmware against known signature of vulnerabilities, malware, and other malicious code. Another one is entropy analysis, which measures the randomness in data to detect packed or encrypted section of the firmware, which could hide malicious code. Next one is control flow analysis, which examines the control flow of the program to ensure the logical flow of the program is secure and follows best practices. It helps identify unreachable code, potential infinite loops, and improper control structures. And finally, data flow analysis, which tracks the flow of data through the program to detect potential vulnerabilities like buffer overflow, null pointer dereferences, and tainted data. Its benefit is that it ensures that the data is handled securely and correctly throughout the program. There are some tools which we can use for static analysis like IDA Pro, Ghidra, and Binary Ninja. We will discuss this one by one. The first one is IDA Pro, which is a powerful disassembler that converts binary code into assembly language. It supports various processor architectures and is widely used for reverse engineering and vulnerability research. Second tool is Ghidra, which is an open source software reverse engineering suite developed by the NSA. It includes a decompiler and supports a wide range of architectures. And finally, there is Binary Ninja, which is a reverse engineering platform with a focus on performance and usability. It includes both disassembly and decompilation capabilities. There are some benefits of static analysis, like it helps identify vulnerability early in the development cycle, reducing the cost and effort required to fix them. It analyzes the entire code base, include parts that may not be executed during dynamic testing. It automates the process of code review, making it faster and more efficient. It helps enforce coding standard and best practices, leading to more secure and maintainable code. So by integrating static analysis into your firmware development cycle, you can significantly enhance the security and quality of your code. It's a proactive approach that helps in identifying and mitigating potential risks before they become serious issues. In the next slide, we will discuss dynamic analysis and how it complements static analysis by examining the firmware during execution. Dynamic analysis is an essential component of firmware security assessment, focusing on evaluating the behavior of firmware while it is running. Unlike static analysis, which inspects the code without execution, dynamic analysis observes the firmware in action, providing insights into its real time operations and interactions. The main goal is to detect runtime error, security vulnerabilities, and unexpected behavior that static analysis might miss. This approach helps in understanding how the firmware interact with the hardware and other software components under various conditions. We will see some techniques used for static analysis one by one. The first one is emulation, which involves running the firmware in a virtual environment that mimics the hardware of the actual device. Tools like QEMU are commonly used for emulation, which is an open source emulator that can emulate a wide range of hardware architectures, allowing firmware to be run and tested in a virtual environment. Next is debugging, which is the process of systematically executing the firmware while inspecting its states to identify and fix issues. This allows testers to observe the firmware's behavior without risking the actual hardware. Debuggers such as GDB allow step-by-step execution, breakpoint settings, and inspection of memory and registers. Some of the benefits of static analysis are it provides insights into firmware's behavior during execution that static analysis might miss. It identifies issues that only occur during execution, such as memory leak, race condition, and unexpected interactions. It complements static analysis by providing a full picture of firmware security posture, covering both code level and runtime vulnerabilities. Now, let's focus on configuration and policy review, an essential step in the firmware security assessment process. These steps involves examining the device setting and policy to identify potential security weaknesses and ensures that best practices are followed. Let's dive into the specific. Many devices are shipped with default settings that are not secured, such as default usernames and password, open ports, and permissive access control. Evaluate all default settings and change them to more secure alternatives. For instance, ensure that default passwords are unique and strong. Secure update mechanisms are crucial for maintaining firmware security over time. Assess how firmware updates are handled and ensures that updates are delivered over secure channels that are cryptographically signed and that the device verify its integrity and authenticity of the update before applying it. Some of the best practices which we can follow for secure configuration is by ensuring that the device is configured securely out of the box, reduces the risks of exploitation. Disable unnecessary services and features, enforce the principle of least privilege, and ensure that only essential ports are open. Implement robust access control to limit who can change configuration. Consistent enforcement of security policies ensures that all devices within an organization adhere to the same security standards. Next, let's discuss the assessment of hardware interfaces, which is another critical aspect of firmware security. Hardware interfaces provide pathway for interacting with the device firmware and other components. Securing these interfaces is essential to prevent unauthorized access and potential exploits. Let's explore this in detail. There are different types of hardware devices which we use for firmware development like JTAG, UART, USB, and many more. Let's see how these interfaces can be entry point to the firmware. Like JTAG, which is Joint Test Action Group, is a standard interface used for debugging and programming embedded systems. If not secured, JTAG can provide deep access to the device, allowing attackers to read and modify firmware. Next is the UART, which is Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter, is a serial communication interface used for debugging and data transfer. If UART ports are exposed, it can be exploited to gain access to the system console and execute arbitrary commands. Another hardware interface is the USB, which is Universal Serial Bus. It's a standard interface for connecting peripherals to a computer or other device. USB port can be exploited to load malicious firmware or extract data if not secured properly. There are some security measures which we can use to protect access to these interfaces, like restricting physical access to these interfaces, disabling unnecessary one, and implementing authentication mechanism to protect access. These steps helps prevent unauthorized hardware level access to the firmware. Now, let's explore some critical security features that could be part of any robust firmware security assessment. These features are essential to protect the integrity, confidentiality, and availability of the firmware, and by extension, the overall security of the device. The first feature is the secure boot. It is the first line of defense. It ensures that only trusted firmware is executed during the boot process. This is achieved by using cryptographic signature to verify the integrity and authenticity of the firmware before it loads. If the signature doesn't match, the device won't boot, preventing unauthorized firmware from running. Another feature is the firmware integrity verification. It involves regular checks to ensure that the firmware hasn't been tampered with. Cryptographic hashes and digital signatures are commonly used to verify that the firmware remained unchanged since it was installed. Next is the access control. It restricts who can access firmware settings and update. Implementing role-based access control and secure authentication mechanism ensures that only authorized personnel can make changes to the firmware. Then there is encryption. It is crucial for protecting sensitive data stored in the firmware. It prevents unauthorized access by ensuring that if the data is intercepted, it cannot be read without the decryption key. This includes both data at rest and data in transit. Another security feature is the secure coding practices. It minimizes the vulnerabilities during the firmware development process. This includes following secure coding standard, conducting regular code reviews, and using static analysis to identify and fix potential security issues. Next is anti-tamper mechanism. Anti-tamper mechanism protects the device from physical and software tampering. Examples include tamper evidence seal, tamper detection circuits, and logging of tamper events. These mechanisms detect and respond to attempts to alter the device or its firmware. And finally, there is debug and test interface security. Debug and test interfaces like JTAG and UART are critical for development but can be entry point for attackers if not secured. These interfaces should be disabled or secured in production devices to prevent unauthorized access. Incorporating these security features into the firmware security assessment can significantly enhance the security posture of your device and protect against a wide range of cyber threats. Remember, firmware security is not just about protecting data, it's about protecting the entire system and, in many cases, the people who rely on these devices. So, I have another poll question for you. Again, you have 30 seconds to answer this. So it should be displayed on your screen now. The question is, what are the most common methods and used to access the firmware security? The options are firmware acquisition, B static analysis, C dynamic analysis, and D all of the above. The correct answer is D all of the above. You must be wondering why. Because each method offers unique insight into firmware security assessment. Now let's take a closer look at some of the common vulnerabilities that can be found in firmware. Understanding this vulnerability is crucial because they represent the most significant risk to the integrity and security of your embedded systems. The first one is the backdoor, which are hidden methods that allow unauthorized access to the system bypassing normal authentication procedures. They can be intentionally placed by the developers or malicious actors, allowing attackers to gain control over the device without being detected. The Mirai botnet, which exploited default login credential to take control over the IoT device and launch massive distributed denial of service attack, is a great example of backdoor. Next is the insecure update mechanism. This vulnerability occurs when the process of updating firmware is not adequately protected. Attackers can intercept and manipulate firmware updates, installing malicious code instead of legitimate updates. Example of this would be the Lenovo Service Engine vulnerability, where an insecure update mechanism allowed unauthorized firmware modification. Next common vulnerability is the buffer overflows. We all know buffer overflows happen when more data is written to a buffer than it can hold, causing adjacent memory to be overwritten. This can be exploited to execute arbitrary code, leading to full system compromise. The Heartbleed vulnerability in OpenSSL, which was a form of buffer overflow that allowed attackers to read sensitive data from memory. The next is the hard-coded credential. These are username, password, or cryptographic keys that are embedded in the firmware and cannot be easily changed. If discovered, they provide an easy way for the attackers to gain access to the system. Many IoT devices have been found with hard-coded credentials, making them susceptible to unauthorized access. And the last common vulnerability, which we will discuss, is the lack of code signing. Code signing ensures that the firmware has not been tampered with and is from a trusted source. Without code signing, attackers can modify firmware and the system will not be able to verify its authenticity. The example of this would be the Stuxnet worm exploited system that did not properly verify signed code, leading to significant damage to Iran's nuclear plan. This vulnerability highlights the need to rigorous security practices in firmware development and maintenance. By being aware of these common issues, you can better protect your system from potential exploits. Here is an example of hard-coded credential in router firmware. During the development of router firmware, the manufacturer includes a hard-coded username and password to facilitate easy access for testing and maintenance. Imagine if the router with hard-coded credential still present in the firmware is released to the public, an attacker can easily gain physical or network access to the router. The attacker will use this hard-coded credential to log into router's administrative interface. Once logged in, the attacker will have full control over the router, allowing them to change settings, redirect traffic, and potentially compromise other devices on the network. To effectively assess and secure firmware, we need the right tools and resources. There are several tools available that help you to identify vulnerabilities, analyze firmware, and ensure its integrity. Let's take a closer look at some of the most widely used tools in firmware security assessment. The first tool is the binwalk. I have already discussed about this tool while talking about firmware acquisition, that it is an open source tool designed for analyzing and extracting firmware images. The second tool is the firmware mod kit. It is a tool used for modifying and customizing firmware images. These tools allow you to unpack, modify, and repack firmware images. It is particularly used for the researchers and developers who need to make changes to the firmware. By modifying the firmware, you can also experiment with different configurations and features. The third tool is the chipset. Chipset is a framework for analyzing the security of the firmware and hardware components. It includes a set of tools and libraries for low-level security assessment. Chipset can be used to test the security of the platform firmware, BIOS, and UEFI. It helps identify vulnerabilities in the firmware interfaces and provide tools to perform forensic analysis, configuration checks, and integration verification. And the last tool which we will discuss is the Radare 2. Radare 2 is an open source software framework for reverse engineering and analyzing binaries. It is highly versatile and can be used for disassembling, debugging, analyzing, and manipulating binary files. Its powerful command line interface and scripting capabilities make it favorite among security researchers for deep analysis of firmware binaries. These tools provide a robust foundation for conducting thorough firmware security assessment. Each tool offers specific functionalities that aid in different aspects of the process, from extracting and modifying firmware to analyzing its security feature and identifying vulnerabilities. Ensuring the security of the firmware requires not only identifying and mitigating vulnerabilities, but also implementing a series of best practices to prevent future issues. Let's discuss some of the most important best practices for maintaining firmware security. Here are some best practices that you can follow for firmware security assessment, like regular updates. Regularly updating firmware is crucial to patch known vulnerability and improve security features. Establish a routine update schedule and ensure that all devices receive updates promptly. Monitor for new firmware releases from the manufacturer and apply them as soon as possible. Next is secure boot implementation and access control, which I have already discussed in previous slides. You can do code reviews. Thorough code reviews helps identify and fix security vulnerabilities before firmware is deployed. Conduct regular code reviews and static analysis of the firmware code. Utilize automated tools to identify potential issues and follow secure coding practices to minimize the risk of vulnerabilities. And most importantly, staying updated on the latest security threats and industry trend is essential for maintaining robust security features. Now let's discuss what to do if you identify a security gap in your firmware. It's crucial to have a clear plan of action to address vulnerabilities effectively and minimize potential damage. The moment you spot a security gap, your first move should be to gauge its severity and potential impact. Ask yourself which devices or systems are affected, how critical is the vulnerability. Prioritize your response based on these answers. If there's an immediate threat, isolate the affected system, disconnect them from the network, or disable functionalities to halt any further exploitation. Next, loop in your internal teams. Security, development, and management need to be on the same page. Document everything. How was the issue occurred? What could be its impact? If the vulnerability is significant, notify stakeholders like customers and partners. Don't forget to comply with any regulatory breach notification requirements. Clear and timely communication is the key. Now roll up your sleeves and start working on a patch or update. But don't rush. Test it thoroughly to ensure it fixes the issue without creating new ones. Once you're confident, deploy the patch across all affected devices or systems. Make sure you communicate clearly with the user, provide instructions for installation, encourage prompt updates. After deploying the patch, verify its effectiveness, conduct rigorous testing to ensure the security gap is fully resolved and there is no lingering vulnerabilities. You can also analyze how the security gap occurred and identify any weaknesses in your process or tools. Document lessons learned and implement improvement to prevent similar issues in the future. Schedule regular security assessment to identify and address potential vulnerabilities proactively. Use a combination of automated tools and manual testing to ensure comprehensive coverage. Keep up to date with the latest security threats and trends. Participate in security communities and forums to share knowledge and learn from others, ensuring you stay ahead of potential risks. By following these steps, you can effectively manage and mitigate security gaps, protecting your system and maintaining the trust of the users. Now, what Decos can offer? At Decos, we provide thorough firmware security assessment that covers all stages from acquisition to analysis and remediations. We help ensure that your firmware complies with relevant regulations such as FDA cybersecurity guidelines for medical devices. We assist in preparing the necessary documentation to demonstrate compliance, helping you navigate regulatory audits smoothly. Our team is available to provide ongoing support and guidance, keeping you updated on the latest security trends and threat intelligence. So that's all for today. I hope you liked the content delivered today and I was able to give you a brief insight on the importance of firmware security assessment. For any questions, you can contact us. The contact details are on the screen. Please note a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website within a week. We will also send you an email with the link on your registered email ID to access this webinar. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.